Too many times, when I start digging into the history of a delicious delicacy, I find myself confronted with the awful reality of colonialism. For example, if you were to ask me what is the best sandwich, well, I'd tell you the one in front of me. But if you pressed and asked me to name a particular favorite, I'd have to admit that I'm quite partial to Vietnamese banh mi, which are a product ultimately of the French conquest of Da Nang in the mid-19th century. By combining French ingredients and techniques with local products and their own ingenuity, the Vietnamese street food vendors of the mid-20th century invented a fusion food that, despite humble origins, is one of the most elegant, elevated combination of flavors to be put between bread, in my opinion. Similarly, the Kathi roll of Kolkata. In the 1800s, Calcutta, as it was known then, was the shining star in the British-held Empire of India. There were only a few thousand Brits living there amidst hundreds of thousands of Bengalis and other locals. But the military power of the East India Company gave the white minority outsized power. Enough power to demand a whites-only market, where they would be free from the need to rub elbows with the brown folks they were displacing. So began the new market of Kolkata, sometimes called the Hog Market, after Sir Stuart Hogg, who was a key player in getting the red brick Victorian Gothic shopping arcade built over the latter half of the 19th century. History does not record how long the market apartheid lasted, but by most reports, Indian shop owners and clientele were frequenting the market within a few decades. In the early 1930s, a stand selling kebabs and parathas and other portable Desi street food began to build a following among the English, who appreciated the concept of food on the go, but were unused to eating with their hands, and complained about the feel of the oily flatbreads, or the kebab juices dripping onto their hands. So the stand owner innovated. He wrapped the kebab in the paratha, then wrapped the paratha in paper, and the Kathi roll was born. The word Kathi means stick, and is a reference to the skewers the kebabs were cooked on. The dish was successful enough that the stand became a stall, and the stall became a full restaurant, and you can still buy Kathi rolls at Nizam's restaurant in Kolkata's New Market to this day. Not only at Nizam's, not only at the New Market, not only in Kolkata, but in many of the locations the Desi diaspora has lit. I have, locally, bought disappointing mass-produced versions from the deli at the back of an Indian market, and nicer versions from local restaurants. But when I made them for myself, I asked Malika Basu, a native Kolkatan living in England, who writes about food and posts Indian food videos on TikTok, for a recipe. She sent me a link to a Kathi roll recipe reprinted from one of her books that starts with a paratha. She allows for the use of pre-made frozen parathas, which I appreciated since they look like a pain to make. Then it adds a kebab made with chunks of chicken thigh, marinated in yogurt, spices, and plenty of mustard oil. Grills it and dresses it with red onions and chilies quick pickled in lemon juice. Garnish that with a handful of cilantro, then just roll it over, pick it up, and dig in. I haven't cooked with mustard oil before, though I had a bottle on hand that has been awaiting this opportunity. And I was surprised, both by how strongly the flavor permeated everything, and by how subtle it was simultaneously. There was not a strong mustard flavor, just an omnipresent, hovering reminder of the potential effects of a hot mustard. But it was not a primary flavor here, taking a back seat to the floral coriander, the earthy turmeric and cumin, the warming garam masala, the lush, crisp surface and fatty interior of the chicken thighs, the bright, lemon-spiked pungency of the red onion, and the bits of hot chili pepper tangled up in its matrix. It's savory and fragrant, spicy and bright, and it's a terrific meal on the go, even if you aren't really going anywhere.